Okay. This is not good. Alright, so what you're witnessing here is the vomiting, alright, that comes with heat stroke. Now that happens whenever your stamina hits 30%. Right, heat stroke phase 1, hyperthermia phase 3, hand in hand, essentially the same thing. Might be the same thing for all I know. Comes at 3.5 degrees Celsius, which is noted right here with your temperature deviation, which hurts your strength by 50%, right, which is going to hurt your gear weight and your run speed, your view range, and your strength skill for rifles here. You notice that? It caps it. Now these are at 10,000 anyway, so it's not worried about it. But if I had this like at 1,000,000, it would automatically bring it down to 100% max. Your temperature deviation, right, is 3.5 degrees Celsius over what it should be, and that's reflected up here. Right, now, for whatever reason, I'm not sure what it was, this number does the TD 3.3 doesn't always match this. I'm not sure why. I haven't got into it too much, but it is what it is. All right, and here's your temperature. All right, 40.2 degrees Celsius right here, your temperature. And there's your 40.2. Okay, so when you hit 1.3, you'll get hyperthermia phase 1. Now, people often mistake hypothermia and hyperthermia. Think about hyper like a kid that's hyper, right? Or hyperdrive or something. It's going really fast. A kid that's hyper burns a lot of energy, right? And that's what you're doing. You're burning right now, okay? So maybe that'll help you remember. You come up with your own way. I don't know. But a hyper is hot. Hypo is cold. Currently in the game, you can't get hypothermia, which is why you can get away with more up in the cold regions, because down here by the coast, this is sort of based off Croatia, if you ever looked into it. I looked at the military helmets when the game first started, essentially. And I wondered what the symbol was, so we started looking into it. That's why you find those little shorts, and you find tracksuits. This is supposed to be off the Mediterranean coast, okay, which means you're getting near the equator, which means it's warm. So if you're down in these coastal regions, right, the A's and then the 4s, it's warmer, and it gets cooler when you go up here. So you're more likely to get overheating in the coastal zones because, well, it's warmer. And how often have you seen people wearing this array of just too many layers, right? Because they're trying to squeeze as much stuff into these pockets and carry all the loot they can around. Well, it's a bad idea generally, right? Not only can you overheat, you get killed, you can lose everything. Look at my gear weight. And that's just standing still, and I'm not loaded up like people are often. All I have is some of this stuff, and it's generally light. Now, when you have heat stroke 1, you saw me vomiting. All right, my view range, bam, is 50%. So you can forget about spotting people. So you'll notice my stamina is also capped at 50%, and it's going down. What's going to happen is you're going to be running, and whenever your stamina hits 30%, you're going to vomit automatically. Alright, so forget about running anywhere generally. Okay, you're going to have to walk. And walking will not bring your temperature down. Right, even standing still as I'm doing, my temperature's not coming down in here on the coast. Now, we've had people talk about get in water, take off all your clothes, try aspirin. Well, I tried the aspirin thing and it didn't work. And also with your vomiting, people say maybe drink water. Nope, it's not going to happen. anything you eat or drink, right? Anything you eat or drink is going to be vomited back up. So, what do? Well, you got heat stroke, you want it to bring it down. There's one thing that'll do it. It's not the most effective, but it helps. So let's do the turn the rain on. Well, the temperature should drop just a little bit, I hope. We're sciencing this shit is what we're doing. I should make a series called Hot Rod Science and Shit for SCUM. Now there's varying degrees of 3.5. Maybe we're at 3.55. We're going to see if it comes down just from the rain. I'm hoping it will as we go here. But it's not looking too promising, is it? Excuse me while I take a pee here for my character. It's not coming down. My water is tanking as I'm overheating. I mean, I got all the targets in the green, but the water is tanking because, well, you're overheating. And what happens when you apply heat to water? Alright, so it's not coming down. I have found the rain helps, though, for mitigation. In other words, it lessens the effect. You can't overheat as fast, and maybe it brings it down a skosh faster. But you notice it's not moving, even though I'm standing still in the rain, which is why I tell people, take your clothes off. Other people will tell you, get to water. Well, imagine you're somewhere up in here, in A3. Right? I'll move the cursor right here. You're anywhere in here. There's no water for you to get in. The best thing you can do if you're overheating is take off your clothes. But let's test the water theory, okay? And we're gonna walk in. Now, technically, I'm not in the water yet. You have to be submerged for it to count. And you'll hear the whoosh as I go in, and it actually counts you as being underwater. I'm watching this temperature deviation right here. There it is. Submerged, temperature deviation starts going down. But it only counts when you see the health or the oxygen meter in the bottom left there at my health. When the oxygen meter is going down, you notice my stamina is already going down. And this is the problem with submerging yourself in the water. Your stamina goes down, and what happens at 30%? When you get out, you're going to start vomiting again, right? So you'll notice it's not going down anymore because technically I'm not underwater. You notice there's no oxygen meter down there, and my stamina is going back up. All right, so going in the water definitely helps. You saw my water drop, or my temperature start to drop. So submerging yourself in water is great, but alone it's no good. Okay? You see how it came down just from being in the water, and now the rain? All right, so that's a good thing. All right? It's starting to cool me off. However, the fastest thing is to simply declothe. On all of your items here, there's a number at the top left. 2 and the red thermometer, that's 2 insulation. 3 insulation. 5 insulation. That's the worst, those respirators, even though they look cool. All these layers, the red is insulation, and the blue, the raindrop, in the top right of these, represents water weight. So this shirt is 0.2 kilograms only. Right? Also, there's your thermometer, and there's your water weight. This tactical sweater only weighs 1 kilogram. However, 0.6 of that is water weight. So it only weighs 0.4 when it's dry. So all this weight adds up. Your gear weight. And that's just going to slow you down. And slow equals dead in this game. Zombies, puppets jump you, or players are shooting at you, you're going to die. Right? The slower you are. You can get heavy enough that you can't move. So, how do we do this? The quickest way, no matter where you are in the world, we're just going to start to declothe. That's all we're going to do. Let's put our underwear back on for you perverts. I don't want you to watch that. Look at it. It's already at 2. We were at 3.5 and then 3.1 after the water. Look at how quickly it dropped. Declothing and standing still is the quickest guaranteed way to drop your temperature. The rain is helping, but watch what happens when you combine this with the water. Look at that. Look at how fast it's going down. Alright, so being in water does help, but if you're most times people aren't standing by water when they get heat stroke. And the guarantee, the quickest way is to stop moving, take your clothes off. Right, now this single player is obviously sped up, as you can tell by look at my calories and the water intake over there. This is single player, everything's sped up. Alright? So this is going to take longer in an actual multiplayer game for this to drop to what you want it to be, and that's negative 0.1 degrees Celsius, which again, 36.6, 36.6, and it was at a 40.2. Now you have to wait for heat stroke to go away completely for your rifles to no longer be red, your strength will no longer be cut in half, therefore your stamina will not be diminished. And your view range down here that's also red will not be diminished. Alright, you'll notice my strength is slowly going up. It's only negative 49% now. That's what you do. If you have hyperthermia, you're overheating, you get heat stroke at around 3.5 degrees over for your temperature deviation. 1.3 is hyperthermia phase 1. 2.3 is hyperthermia phase 2. 3.5 you develop heat stroke, automatic vomiting at 30%, or if you eat or drink anything. So if you're overheating, if you want to get all that gear back to your base, just stop, take it off for a minute, let your temperature come down, and then throw it back on and go a little further. But especially in the coastal areas, pay attention to your heat. Okay, we don't need all these layers, right? You're not going to need this. It's just extra weight. You're not going to need boots generally. People like them for their knife. I generally don't need them. It's only 2 spots for extra 1.7 kilograms and, 3 insulation. It's like, give me a break. Generally, you don't need socks. You need your underwear. You don't need gloves. Look at all that weight adds up. You generally don't need all of this. Now, if you want to wear it, because, hell, it's on you. Play the way you want to, right? Have some fun. But you see a lot of people in game talking about, why am I vomiting? All right, why is my stamina going down? Why is my rifles red? My rifles used to be advanced and now they're capped at basic. Why? Why is my stamina so low? This is why. And I'm sure hypothermia, when they put it in, will come into play too, and you'll want these layers of insulation. But not now, not on the coast. You don't want to be over your gear weight. Strength will help with that. Alright, you don't want to be over your gear weight. You don't need all these layers. We're already back at 198. You generally don't need to run around with an axe. Now, if you're in PvP territory, maybe you want to run around with that. And we're getting closer to just being 134 or 100. Right, but see how little you're able to carry to get closer to 100? We're still not there. It's because all this stuff right here. But there you go. If you want your heat stroke or your temperature deviation, your core temperature to go down, take your clothes off. If you can, if you're by water, hop into water, it'll go down that much quicker. Okay, aspirin doesn't work. Rain, I think, helps mitigate it, but it's hard to really science that because you can't see beyond the first decimal point, right? 3.5. It doesn't give you 3.555 and so on. There you go. Hot rod science and shit, part 1. Oh, there was a gentleman in game that was saying get in water, and I was saying water doesn't do shit. Well, it turns out it actually does do shit. What I'm trying to do is get people to focus on just stop, take your clothes off. Don't get fancy. Just stop, take your clothes off, stop moving. It'll go down. Don't be trying to get the water. All right, first thing is to take these layers of insulation off and stop moving. But he was right. Water actually does something, so I'm going to eat some crow. If you get that there. Ha ha ha, just kidding. Anyways, hot rod science and shit. See you in game.